Right, I've got another book today. It's the Bible in Cockney. How amazing is that? I found this on eBay and it looks brilliant. Read how Jesus feeds 5,000 geezers with just 5 loads of... I'm going to have to read this in a different accent, aren't I? Read how Jesus feeds 5,000 geezers with just 5 loads of Uncle Fred. I'm going to put the translation at the bottom. With just 5 loaves of Uncle Fred and 2 Lillian geezers. Oh, I never knew how amazing Cockney rhyming slang is. Or how Noah built a blooming massive nanny. Nanny? Oh, the Lord's Prayer. Shall we start with the Lord's Prayer? Right. I'm going to read out the original Lord's Prayer first, just so we know. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive them that trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, for ever and ever. Amen. Hello, Dad! Up there in good old heaven. Your name is well great and holy, and we respect you, Gov. I just sort of randomly went, okay. We hope that we can all have a butcher's at heaven, and be there as soon as possible, and we want to make you happy, Gov, and do what you want here on earth, just as what you do in heaven. Gov, please give us some Uncle Fred and enough grub and stuff to keep us going today, and we hope that you'll forgive us when we cock things up, just like we're supposed to forgive them all that annoy us and do dodgy stuff to us. There's a lot of dodgy people around, Gov. Please don't let us get tempted to do bad things. Help keep us all away from the nasty evil stuff and keep that dodgy Satan away from us, because you're much stronger than him. You're the boss, God, and we'll be forever in it. Cheers. Amen. Oh, I love this book already. It's the story of Adam and Eve. Let's find that. Here it is. Now, when God had made everything, the whole universe and that, he realised that there weren't no plants anywhere and no little seeds had grown because he hadn't sent any Andy along. And there was no one round to look after the land. There was a little bit of fishermen's coming up from the surface, which kept the ground watered. One day God took a bit of dirt from the ground and he made the shape of some geezer out of it. He then breathed into the fireman's over this git. What? And would you Adam and Eve it? The dirt geezer started to live. God had obviously breathed fork into him. God then planted a nice little garden in Eden, in the east. And it was there that he put this geezer that he made out of dirt. There were some blooming lovely trees in the garden, producing all sorts of smashing fruit. Right in the middle of this garden was this tree that gives fork, and the tree that makes people know what's good and what's bad. A little stream of fishermen flowed into Eden, and it watered the garden. Now God put the geezer that he'd made in the Garden of Eden and told him to look after it, help all the plants grow, protect it and all that. God said to him, you can eat all the fruit that you want from any tree except that tree that tells people what's good and what's bad. Now you ain't to eat the fruit from this tree, because if you do you're going to die. You'll be brown bread the same day. God then went on to say, now it ain't good for the geezer to live on his tod. So God took some dirt that he liked to make things out of, and he made all the animals and little Richards. God then brought them all to the geezer to see what names he would give them. The geezer gave them all a name, and that's how the animals got their names. Right, let's find something else. It's the bit where he takes the apple. No matter all the animals God made, the snake was the most dodgy, really sly and crafty. One day the snake went up to the woman and asked her, Eve, and asked her, is it true that God's told you not to eat any of the fruit from this garden? We can eat any fruit we want, said the woman. I should do a feminine voice, shouldn't I? But I'm not going to, said the woman. But we ain't to touch any fruit from that big tree in the middle of the garden. God said that if we eat it or even touch this fruit, we'll end up brown bread. The snake replied, what a load of bleeding nonsense. You won't end up brown bread. God ain't going to kill you, sweetheart. I think I'm doing pretty good at reading this. He's just worried that if you eat the fruit, you're going to end up like him, and you'll know what's good and what's bad. You'll know everything. Now the woman started to have real good butchers at the tree. She noticed how delicious the fruit looked, and she started thinking how brilliant it would be to know everything and become as smart as God. And so, would you Adam and Eve it? They keep using this over and over again. She took some of the fruit and ate it. Later on in the evening, they heard God taking a little ball in the garden, and so they hid from him behind some trees. God then called out, where are you folks? The geezer answered, I heard you taking a ball in the garden. I was scared and so I hid from you, because I had no blooming knees and nose on. Hang on a minute, said God. Who told you that you were starkers? You haven't been eating that fruit I told you not to eat, have you? The geezer answered, Well, actually, it was that woman that you put in the garden with me. She gave me the fruit and all I did was just eat it. So God turned to the young woman and said, "Oi! Why did you do this, young lady?" She replied, "It weren't me, God. It was that dodgy snake. It tricked me into eating the delicious fruit, innit?" Jesus heals some geezer. There was this geezer who had leprosy, some dodgy skin disease. And he came to Jesus, fell on his biscuits and said, "If you wanna, please make me clean." Jesus felt really sorry for the geezer. He stretched out his Ramsgate and... Ramsgate? Why is Ramsgate in here? That's where I live. He stretched out his Ramsgate and touched him. "I do want to," Jesus said. "Be clean." But would you Adam and Eve it? The disease left the fella immediately and he was clean. Right, I'm going to leave it there because this is going on far too long. That was good, wasn't it? It was. Good. Bye. I've got a book today. Another book. Yes. I'm going to have to shut the window.